Hey guys, today we'll be doing about the history of my history of how I got into, yes, this engine you've been talking about. I mean, not you talking about, some of you guys might be, but it's Thomas the Tank Engine. So here is my history. Here we go. So what is Thomas the Tank Engine? Thomas the Tank Engine is a series of a show. Let's just say this. Yep, this is the guy. Yep, this is the guy. He is a very popular, okay, maybe not, but okay, let's pass this. But this is such a certain meme to people because it's now a dead meme. Wow. But anyways, this is what we'll be talking about, my history of Thomas the Tank Engine. Here we go. So how did I get into Thomas the Tank Engine? Or you may be asking me why. Thomas the Tank Engine used to be one of my favorite shows, and it was pretty much the best show I've ever watched. And pretty much, I'm just gonna show you my first episode I have ever watched, and one of my favorite episodes. My favorite show was James in a Mess, or Dirty Objects, and I like the UK edition more than the US because I think George Carlin was not very good at narrating, but I prefer Ringo Starr, and I think it was he who had the best narration to season 1 to season 2. And I think my favorite character was James because he always wanted to be splendid, of course. And this is my favorite episode, and this is the first episode I have ever watched, and I'll show you my favorite episode. This was my favorite Thomas and Friends episodes. This is the season 2 one, and it's Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree. Wow, I like the narrations from Michael Angelis, the one that narrated from season 3 to season something. But I like Ringo Starr because the UK version is more better. You might be looking at my videos about that Thomas the Tank Engine Try Not to Laugh ones. Here's the trains I've been collecting throughout my whole day. I mean, throughout my whole life. Yep, that's a lot of trains. Yep. A lot of train. But you may be wondering, how did I get into Thomas the Tank Engine? How? Well, Thomas the Tank Engine was one of the most first CDs I have ever got, and my brother used to like him when he was just like 5 or 6, I don't know. But he really enjoyed it. So when he was 12, he had the CD that my dad gave me when I was only 3, and I put it in the CD player in my old house, and then I saw some episode of Thomas and Friends, and I loved it. I collected a lot of trains until I gave them to my cousin, but it was pretty much my thing, and I had a lot of tracks until I gave it to my cousin. So, I pretty much enjoyed Thomas the Tank Engine, but something was wrong. They needed to add more, and then suddenly, something went worse. Season 19 was pretty much the best, and they brought in old characters and new better characters, and by the way, it was going to get worse. When Journey Beyond Soldier was made, it was so annoying. I meant, like, it wasn't the best movie, but the bouncing, the movement of it. Let me show you an example. Here, this is an example. But the movement is really annoying. Look at the movement of this. Look at the movement. The movement going on this character made it so worse. So, you had an option. A, remove all the bouncing animation and make it all clean. Or B, keep the bouncing animation and keep all the other scenes not rushed or anything. If you chose A, you are wrong. If you chose B, you are correct. They should have done that because that's literally, A could be like bad, But if B was, they could keep the movement of this. So I knew it was going to get worse until Big World and Big Adventures. It was literally the worst thing ever. Because when I watched that, I was like, what kind of animation is this? I was sitting on the sofa thinking about it, and I felt like to cry because I was worried that it was going to get worse. So, my opinions on Thomas the Tank Engine was kind of but then suddenly made no sense. So every year, they've been adding new girls, and then they got to remove these two, Edward and Henry. Why didn't they just remove James? Yes, this engine, because he, in one of these episodes in season 19 or 20, I don't know, why don't they just remove him or something? Just adding in this new engine, Nia and Rebecca. Why would you just do that? Why? And when their marketing was there, they made it look like this. I am mad. They would make a model like this? What the heck? Let me show you an old model of Edward. See? This was the old Edward, and it was turned into... I mean, like, why? Why would they make this like that? I like this more, not that.